Hi, this is Cindy with another video tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to do a blind hem. When you have a nice hem that you want to do, you want it to turn out with a nice blind hem. So anyway, let me show you how to get started. I'm going to show you how to work on the hem of a skirt using a blind hem. As you can see, this is the skirt. I have already sewn up the back center seam, and I have pinned up 1.5 inches, and I like to use just little strips of paper or something, so if I wanted it 1 inch, 2 inches, just cut the paper to match, and then I can just easily measure and pin all the way around. I wanted to show you that I have finished the raw edge using a serger for this application. If you do not have a serger, you can use this one. I just used a piece of ribbon and just flat sewed it to the raw edge, okay? And that will become the finished edge. There are seam tapes that you can use, laces that come in the notions aisle that are less bulky than this ribbon, and you would probably want it to match better than what I have here, unless you want the inside of your hem to be a fashion item. But this is what I had on hand, and I wanted to show options other than using a serger because not everybody has a serger. So use the least bulky thing that you can use here, just flat sew it to the edge, and that becomes the finished edge like this. So everything else would remain the same. When you want to do a blind hem, you turn your hem up like this, and watch carefully what I do. I'm going to fold it back like so, so my finished edge sticks out here, okay? And what I'm going to end up doing is sew right along this edge, and I'm going to use a stitch that does a little bite out of the fabric, and then back and bite and back and bite like that. So let me put it in my machine and show you what that is. But one more time, here we are, like this. You just fold that back like so, and then I'll show you the setup inside the machine. I wanted to show you what stitch I'm going to use on my machine. It looks like this. It will sew 5 straight stitches, do 1 little nick in like that, and then sew 5 more stitches and 1 little nick in like that. Your machine may have something like that, or it might have something more along the lines of, 3 stitches with a stitch in, 3 stitches, stitch in. So if you have a machine that has lots of options, you're a very lucky person, and pick the one that has the most. Any of these will work. The trick is you just want this to barely bite the fold of the fabric. So here we have it in the machine setup. I have taken my fabric that looks like this, folded it like I showed you before, so that the fold and the raw edge are just like that. Okay, so here it is. Now, as you go along, take your pins out that you had here and pin it in place so that you don't run over your pins, and it keeps holding everything in place. Set your machine so the needle stays down, and you're going to sew very close to that fold when it's sewing straight, and then it pops over and takes that little nick. See it? Over. Okay. And this is not a time to become a speed demon and try to get this all done really quickly. You want to be very neat and precise of sewing close to that fold, but not on the fold. And then when that needle goes over, just allowing it to nick that fold and then go back. I've just completed sewing around the entire hem of the skirt like we just showed you. And when you turn it right side out, it looks kind of like this, and you might think, oh, that looks terrible. But what you need to do is very gently just pull it like this in each one of those little places to kind of pull those little threads tight. And be sure to use very closely matched thread colors. Okay? Then as soon as you've done all of this pulling, Take it over to your ironing board and press the hem so that it's nice and flat. Now, word of caution, really pay attention to what kind of fabric you have and what you have your iron set on, and you may need to use a press cloth to keep from ruining your fabric. So I'll show you what that looks like. So here is the finished pressed hem, and as you can see, it looks a lot like a hand sewn hem where you have just the little nicks that comes up. Here's the inside, it's nice and flat, and as you can see, if I would have used that highly contrasting ribbon and that heavy ribbon, it might show through on the front side. So be very careful with what you pick if you don't have a serger in your seam tapes on the hem tape on the inside. So there you go. That is a blind hem.